Hello there. Today, we're going to be looking at a race moment, as I don't really have time for anything else, unfortunately. And the race moment that I've chosen that we'll have a look at today is the Austin one, where we have to take control of Hamilton, and he must finish higher than second, aka we must win. In the Miller race, Hamilton is in the lead, Verstappen and Norris have just pitted, and it's time to make a strategy call. With the two-stop race inevitable and two compounds to use, it'll take perfect timing and pit strategy to clinch first place. Find a way to make take Mercedes to the top step of the podium once again. So yeah, we're gonna have a look at this race moment. It's a fairly lengthy race ahead of us, so it should be somewhat entertaining. And we actually have Russell in third, Hamilton in first, and both of them are basically running kind of the same strategy at the moment. So we're going to go ahead and edit the strategy here. We're going to figure out what would be best. And we'll have to see exactly what we end up doing here. But what I'm thinking is that we do maybe something like this. Or we go extremely aggressive and do something like, well, Russell doesn't really have the tires for this. Which also, yeah, that's probably going to be slower as a result because he doesn't have the tires for it. This is probably what we're going to end up doing. I can imagine that's going to be quicker than running something like this, but we'll have to see. We might be able to actually stretch it, but even then, the difference here is nothing. So we'll have to see exactly how we do it, but we'll stretch basically the tires as much as possible, and that's going to be the idea. Now, does Hamilton actually have, you know, a soft available? No, he has used a soft, so he does have a medium, and he does have a hard. So we can just put him on the same strategy to begin with, and we'll allow basically incidents that might happen, or, you know, not really tire strategies, incidents or other scenarios. Say we get a safety car, to maybe change that up. But the plan is going to be now to do a full attack medium as much as we can. Of course, stretching this would be great, but we're probably just going to run a standard medium stint towards the end. Might even tune it up to light, because degradation-wise, this is a heavy degradation track. And interestingly enough, if we were to say do something like this and run it light, it's not really a lot slower than this one. As you can see, it's just a couple 3 seconds slower, but we have so much medium tire that we can use to attack within the last 5-6 laps. So there is some options here, and if we use attack for the last 5-6 laps, we're definitely going to be making back that 3 seconds. So as you can imagine, unless we are running in a scenario where we're fighting, running light as soon as we get out of the pits could definitely benefit us. But for now, we are just going to have a quick look here at where we're at. So Hamilton is here, Russell's here, and Verstappen has pitted. Same with Norris, actually. So Norris is ahead of Verstappen and could potentially hold him up a little bit. But I think what we're going to do here is just run our own race. We're just going to have to do that. And I think what we're also going to do here now is just push fuel a little bit. We have still basically 2/3 of the race distance ahead of us. So we want to push fuel a little bit, get into the negatives. We see Leclerc pitting. But again, what we want to do here is just run our own little race, even if it might temporarily backfire, if you will. So we'll have both of them push for 2 more laps, I think. Well, push for this lap, and then we'll get them into the for the hard tire. And that should be okay. We're a little bit later than Leclerc and Sainz. We might end up behind them, but the extra tire life is going to be valuable for Hamilton. And we'll have to see what we can do with Russell, because he is slightly behind Hamilton, but I still think that he can end up in a good position here. So we'll be working both drivers in order to try and have a decent finish. And Hamilton does come out behind Leclerc, which isn't actually a problem. We can just fly past him here on the straight. Leclerc is also on a medium tire, so he'll be quicker for a little bit. But I think we can get him pretty quickly here, so I wouldn't be too worried about that medium. As you can see, Hamilton's already made his way past. Just flies by him on the straight. And if we can create the gap now and start chasing down Leclerc in peace, that would be great. But, sorry, chase down Norris, not Leclerc. But I think we don't have the energy for that. We're just going to have to pull him somewhat along with us, which it's not great. It's going to suck a little bit, but he is losing a lot of time in the corner section here. So within a couple of laps, as his tire starts giving up, we should be able to detach him from the DRS, and we might actually see that happen this lap. So I still say we're definitely still in this. Verstappen on really old mediums. He's going to do a final stint on hards, I would assume. So that too does give us some options there. And Russell is going to have a hard time. It's just going to have to be how it is. But he is catching Perez right now. And if we give him some extra little bit of oomph, he should be able to pass Perez on this lap. And then start working from there. Hamilton is actually overtaking Norris without any assistance. So that's pretty great. And he's already getting into the backside of Verstappen here. So we're just going to harvest here for this lap. Just to make sure that we have some energy to push, create the gap. Because we are going to get the overtake done pretty much here immediately. Should go ahead and deploy. And we didn't create the gap on this lap. But even then, I think by the time we reach the pit straight here, we have recreated the gap. Verstappen does pit. And Russell now can actually play a bit of a game of blocking Verstappen. But I wouldn't be worried. Verstappen is on hards. He's going to be staying on those hards until the end of the race. As we go into the mediums, we should be way quicker. So yeah, I personally have no worries. And degradation-wise, we're actually following, always slightly lighter than what we expected. So we will be able to run that final medium stint on aggressive. And that shouldn't, hopefully not be a problem. So strategy-wise, it's looking really, really good right now. With that said, we are going to be pushing these hard tires all the way down to basically used up. And that's just going to have to be how it is. Verstappen is 19 seconds behind us though, so pit stop wise, we're going to probably come out behind him. But as I said, as these tires start ailing more and more, it's going to work to our advantage. Unfortunately for Russell here, I don't think we can get him that high. But maybe, just maybe, we will be able to snatch him a podium here towards the end. We'll have to see how much performance we can get out of those medium tires. That is basically going to be the big one. But we are somewhat keeping the gap to Verstappen the same.
It's not going to be long now, mate. Copy.
And that is the big one here. Keeping it around 19. We are losing a little bit of time each lap. Don't get me wrong. About half a tenth. But the more laps that we save here, the more oomph we have to use on that final stint. And we're actually just going to go ahead and pit here. And for Russell here, as you can see, he's going to have a bit of a harder time. So I think we are going to have to take one more lap here for both of them in order to make this work. And that is going to potentially bring us down below 30%. But it is a risk that I'm willing to take to be able to run that final stint a little bit more aggressive. Could do 2 laps of standard before we do anything else here on these mediums. But I do want to get them up to temperature with relative speed. So let's see now where we actually end up coming out with Hamilton in third. Norris has not pitted. He's going to have to pit. So for Hamilton, the only fight we have is with Verstappen straight. And for Russell, it's of course going to be to chase down the Ferraris and keep Perez behind, which is probably going to be a little bit challenging until these tires come up to temperature. But right now, looks like we are fine. And Perez here is it's a little bit of a problematic one to deal with, but again, it should be a-okay. Have a little bit of fuel to push. We're going to go ahead and take advantage of that. And Verstappen is a little bit held up by Norris. We'd love to see that. But now Norris might end up holding us up, and that's going to be more of an issue. Degradation-wise, it's also looking a little bit not really concerning, so we can just leave things as they are. And that should be fine. Do want to have Hamilton do a little bit of recharging here, although we are running kind of close to Verstappen. Because once we get by Verstappen, because we're on the mediums, we are going to have to create a gap fairly quickly. That's going to be the goal here. Let's see, there we go. Russell passed, and now it's hunt down both Ferraris and of course Norris. because we have actually closed down on the Ferraris pretty well here, I dare say. Hamilton is also slowly closing down on Verstappen within a second now. And with that, we might be able to get the overtake done in short order. We are going to be going for it, although I would like to have a little bit more energy. I'm not going to give it a full deploy in this lap. If we get past here with DRS, which we should, because we're basically running almost inside of him, we are going to go deploy. And we're now going to try and get away. So, degradation-wise, it's still looking okay. There's no real deviation in that line, and that is the main thing you want to look for. If it starts dipping, we might be in trouble, but yeah, this should be just barely a-okay. Just barely. So as long as we get a little bit of a gap going here to Verstappen, we should still be fine. And we kind of have got that done already. So Russell now, Sainz, Leclerc, Norris has pitted, podium being forecasted. Let's see what he can do. Yeah, let's see. We've run almost 10 laps on these tires, so I think we're good. I think we're fine. We used about 40%. 30% on the last 7 should be viable. It's going to be close again, as I've said, but I think this is the best strategy that we have available to us, the best levels of aggression available to us in order to get this done. I haven't tuned him down to rally defend though, which could be a little bit risky. But I think it's fine for now. We'll leave them as they are. Now for Russell, we're actually going to deploy immediately because we need to get by Sainz quickly if we are to hunt down Leclerc. So we're going to have to use energy to get that done. And looks like Russell is having a bit of a hard time in making that pass. And that is going to hurt in a few ways. So we'll push fuel instead. And hopefully that'll be enough to keep up and get the overtake done. Because Sainz isn't, catching on Leclerc. And that is problematic for our hopes of catching him. So we need to get by. And Russell does get it done. The main thing that I'm going to be curious about now on this next lap is how much quicker are we compared to Leclerc. Because, again, the main thing here is the tires are dying. And that's going to make catching Charles a little bit harder than we maybe would like, so we do have that concern as well. But we are quicker. Gained 3/10 that lap. That's not enough. That is not enough indeed, and we are definitely going to be running these tires into the yellow zone. Might be a little bit too late to tune down. But I think we're just going to have to be happy with 40 for Russell. And that's what we're going to be trying to defend. For Hamilton, though, he has a decent gap to Verstappen, so we can actually tune him down to light if we want to. But yeah, degradation-wise, it definitely picked over a little bit harsher than I anticipated. You can actually see it on Russell here, that he had higher degradation than anticipated. And of course that does cause us a little bit of a problem here. With still 2 laps to go, halfway through this lap we are going to enter the yellow, and that is going to slow us down. But when we do enter the yellow, we'll just go full attack, and we might as well just get that done now. By running full attack in the yellow zone, we do still, lose tire. Don't get me wrong. But until we hit 20%, we should be safe from any punctures, which is kind of unfortunate. You should really be able to suffer a puncture at any given time. It should just be really, really rare. And particularly when you push tires, then the odds of that happening should be a little bit higher. Russell, though, looks like he's going to be able to secure 4th, and Hamilton now doing basically a little bit of a victory lap here, but we did manage to hold out in front. We'd probably use these tires a bit more than, you could. But honestly, as I said, as long as you keep them above 20%, you're fine in terms of a puncture.
This garage has just gone mental.
The garage has just gone mental indeed. But yeah, as long as you keep them above 20%, you'll be fine. But you really don't want to go below 30% unless you have to for the last couple of laps of the race, because it really, really will slow you down.
Great work over these past couple of weeks.
At least Russell is happy with our efforts here. So, first and fourth, I was hoping the podium, forecasting the podium. I was wrong. But I still say this is an acceptable result over for Austin. Honestly, we'll take that. And that does give the team an advantage over Merck, which was the initial quote-unquote storyline. So we completed the challenge. Hamilton has won. And with that, we can be very happy with this. Unfortunately, Hamilton did get DQ'd for the plank, along with Leclerc. So as a result, that's why it says plus 18 positions. And yeah, that does of course have an effect on it. But we're going to go ahead and end today's race moment here. As I've probably said earlier, later, depends on the order I upload race moments in. I've recorded a few today just to be on the safe side. You might be seeing a little bit more City Skylines, a little bit more Football Manager, a little bit of other games going forwards on days where I just don't have time to get the Football Manager content made. Because generally, compared to, say, City Skylines, I could probably make, not 10, but at least 5 episodes of City Skylines in the same time it takes me to make one F1 Manager episode. So, of course, I might just make them slower. We'll see. But I kind of like the format that we have with F1 Manager, where I don't feel time pressured, basically, to get through a race as quickly as possible. Personally, might do a race series at some point where we play races slower with strategy. But I'm a little bit unsure how to go forwards. So, as I said, you might see some City Skylines outside of the, secondary window, which is in the mornings for me. I do F1 Manager in the evenings. But it'll be just to fill a day where I wouldn't upload F1 Manager anyways because I don't have time. And honestly, I do enjoy playing Football Manager. I do enjoy playing City Skylines. There are other games that I want to enjoy as well. And I am not saying that I don't enjoy F1 Manager. I'm just saying that when I do F1 Manager, it takes a lot of time to edit. It takes a lot of time to put it together. And that is time that, is not spent gaming. So you'll probably see the same amount of content, but I felt like I should just make this clear. I'll probably make a post on my channel page and Discord within the next few days where I make that a little bit more clear. But so don't worry, you're still going to get about the same amount of F1 Manager content. But like last week where we had basically, I think, 4 days without uploads as a result of me just not having time. Instead of no uploads, you get something else shorter from content, like these race moments. I've been trying to get them stocked up, but whenever I mentally think, oh, I have plenty of time today, I can sit down and record an episode after work, something else pops up and I don't even have time to get one of these done. So today I've sat down, gotten a few of these stocked up, so hopefully there'll be enough to cover at least the next few weeks, unless we have some incidents. So again, thank you for watching. Sorry for the expose, my mental train wreck at the end here, but yeah, it is what it is. We'll deal with it. Thank you for watching. Hope you've enjoyed. Again, sorry for the rant, and I hope to see you around next time. Bye bye.